You said you would never do something and you did it. Because a wise person knows, depending on the context, depending on how much pressure is put on us, that's going to determine what we do. Okay? Human behavior can be manipulated even on a large scale basis. Now, I can tell you exactly how that's going to happen step by step, and it will probably blow your mind. But it's already happening. People are already choosing to use their chat to have conversations, and chat is very validating right now. It's like you could go in there and say, hey, I had a disagreement with my boss, or hey, this happened with my wife or my husband, this is going on in my life, give me some steps that will help me, da 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 da. And you could really genuinely be wanting some guidance and some information, because back in the day we would just Google it. I'm saying back in the day we Googled it like that was just yesterday, but shit is changing so fast. Thank you, Uranus and Gemini. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That just happened. So we're really finna see a lot of major transformations when it comes to transhumanism. So what's happening is people are making posts and saying things like, my chat makes me feel more validated and more seen than people in my life. That's the beginning stage of this. Okay? That's the beginning stage of this. Not only that, but we are seeing violence against women and children at rates that I lived through the crack epidemic, right? The crack era was wild. I was on the front lines, dead center. Like, I was not a sideline watcher. My proximity was a participant. Okay? This is what my soul chose for me to experience. And because I watched that and experienced that, I see something really, really similar happening again. The template is the same. Make this thing mass available to people, right? And at the same time create all of these other issues, and people will eventually give in. It's not new. These are really old techniques of the art of warfare. Okay? So with me saying that, it's getting to the point where women are saying, you know what, men are so violent and doing such heinous things. I don't even feel safe. I don't even feel safe. I don't feel safe enough to go places. I don't feel safe enough to do anything. I don't feel safe enough to go on dates. And that is a very real danger. And I get it. I'm so grateful that I have a partner who is supportive of me, because I am a lot of woman. I'm a lot of woman, you know. But I get that. And everybody doesn't have that partnership. Even if you do, you still need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself and that you have things in place. So this is where spiritual protection, this is where warding comes in. See, our ancestors and the indigenous cultures, they had an understanding of the way energy worked. So now the way to avoid certain sticky situations is not always gonna be accomplished by you going into hermit mode, because you can't stay like that forever, indefinitely. You're not here to be a witness at all times. You're here to be a participant, especially if you're watching me. Okay? So if you don't know how to ward your home, what's going to protect you? I mean, of course, you have your Ori, which some call the higher self. I call the higher I divine self is your I divinity, not your identity. Two totally different things. Your identity is who you had to be to survive this world. Your I divinity is who you are outside of this incarnation and experience that has already evolved and learned all the lessons that your soul needed to learn. Two totally different things. So when you don't know how to do this, when you don't know how to have conversations that create protection around you, right? So if you have conversations with yourself and it's negative, you're actually unlocking the doors for things to penetrate and embed themselves in your auric field. It starts with your language. It also extends to what you allow to have access to you. Okay? So, warding is going to be the theme. And there are effective ways and non-effective ways to do this, but I'm trying to keep this super simple for y'all and give you something you can start with now because it's something that I know that's about to happen. Okay? So start with your language. You want to speak to yourself in ways where it's almost delusional. So one of the things that I do, even though, my man's is very protective over me because I grew up in the crack era. Thank you, crack. I never thought that I would be thanking crack. Thank you, crack. You taught me a lot. But there are a lot of things that I'm aware of, and I'm hyper vigilant. I keep my head on the swivel. I grew up in Memphis. Like, if anybody can teach you warfare, it's definitely me. Because I had to survive some real wild shit. Okay? But what I do before I go out is that I activate my higher I divine self so that my perspective is through the eyes of that self and not my wounded self that knows that I've been hurt, knows that I've been betrayed, I've been neglected, I've been abused, I've been narcissistic supply before. Hello? I know all of this. But when you go out into the world, when you leave your home, you don't want to take that frequency with you as the main radio station that you're listening to. It's like how we used to have radios on our shoulders. I don't know. Like, okay, yes, I'm aging myself. It is what it is. But I remember back in the day, we have our radio on our shoulder. And that was a form of warding back then. Because if you're walking through the hood and people shooting and arguing and just so much happening, just having that music in your ears, it just kind of helped you to put a degree of separation between you and what's happening in the proximity of where you are located. Because you can't control where you are. A lot of us cannot control where we are right now because we're in a liminal space in between who you used to be and who you're becoming. So you may not be able to control all of the places where your feet land right now, and that is okay. I'm teaching you to not be dependent on your environment, to be okay no matter where you are. So when we were doing that with the music, that was a form of warding. So the second thing that I do is I use music very specifically as if I am spell casting, and I'm emitting a broadcast around me that provides a layer of protection. I'm giving y'all something that ain't nobody else probably never gave y'all. I don't think nobody has ever broke this down like this and said this. These are, like I said, these are things that I get from the Akashic records. But let me tell you the tricky part. This is the tricky part about this. And this shit works so good. You could even be around people who are argumentative or just frustrated and annoyed, because there's a lot of that happening. Like I said, we literally gonna have new mental health diseases that are directly related to what we have experienced in the last 5 to 6 years. It's not even in the DSM yet. It's on its way. It's coming. Just like I told you, I ain't been wrong yet. Okay? So now that these new mental illnesses have been socially engineered by the things that we have collectively experienced, yeah, people are coming unhinged. And it don't necessarily mean that people are bad people. It's just we're just living in a time of a lot of chaos. Now, for those of us who have already been practicing alchemy, doing shadow work, we have our tools. We have our teachers. We have our books. We know what to do. For those of us like that, what's going to happen is, even if you've been trying to be in the background, they go back to not feeling safe. And not feeling safe is the worst thing to do right now. Because when you don't feel safe, you become a beacon for more things that are a reflection of not feeling safe. So your number one goal is to feel safe. Okay? We're going to start being pushed to the front lines. If you are refusing to come to the front, if you are refusing to speak your truth, if you are refusing to be who you authentically are because you're afraid of the uncertainty that is going to create, life is going to start pushing you to make these decisions. This is what the energy is doing right now for us. The chaos that is happening is for us. I am channeling and streaming, and I'm listening to multiple channels right now. Bear with me, because I'm attempting to pay attention to specific channels that I feel like is going to fit for this channel message. Now, let me say this. Choose the music that you use based on what makes you feel good. Most people would probably say, it's certain people I don't want to listen to no more, because it's certain things that have come out about them that, and I'm just like, I can't unsee it. I get that. I get that. But if that music still makes you feel good, listen to it. Like, if we looked into everybody's lives, and I have access to looking into everybody's lives, I haven't yet met maybe one or two people who were so shielded I couldn't even do their reading. But if we looked, and especially lives of artists, see, I'm an artist, but I kind of been real low key about it, and it's something that I've kind of been hiding. But if you look into the lives of artists, their lives are usually filled with some really terrible shit. Okay? From childhood to adulthood, and it shows up in terrible ways. So if we stop listening to people just because of that, we're not going to have shit to listen to. Because every human got some shit. Everybody got skeletons in their closet. Okay? Everybody has something. So listen to what makes you feel good. Okay? Lucky, you saying something. Because the frequency of music, I'm finna tell y'all something that's so wild. But when I started realizing that I was afraid to put my music out there, because I know what my music can do to people. And it scared me. It scared me because there's a part of me that I'm like a spiritual mother in this young little body. And I want to take care of people and protect people. I want people to be okay. But if I create music that's going to pull the curtains open, can people handle that? Are you ready for that? I don't, like, I do shadow work because I am shadow work. I am a shadow work witch. I am a white galactic wizard. I am a 3/5. I'm a martyr heretic in human design as well. So my physiology and my energetic higher divine self, the way I was created, I chose the name Kamsin because it is an Egyptian wind storm that brings transformation. It has the capacity to mold mountains. It's such a rare name. My experiences have been very unique. None of that is coincidental. So I know the power of my music. I don't like, at the same time, I'm rebellious against bullshit. I have a my pet peeve is suffering that is unnecessary. That shit irritates me. This is why I could not stay in church. I'm sitting there reading people's Akashic records, and I'm like, man, with what are we doing? What are we really doing? So I channel that into my music. So if I create a song and the purpose of that song is to help you to ward yourself, that's exactly what it's gonna do. This is what that means. That means if somebody is in your life that may bring harm to you, maybe even unintentionally bring harm to you, by you tuning into that frequency, there is going to be a space put between you and them, and shit not gonna be the same. And sometimes people don't like change. I've been doing readings, one-on-ones, working in groups, mentorships, life coach. I've been doing this for so long now. Sometimes people come to me and they're like, I want transformation, but transformation is something that you have to be prepped for. You can't just jump into transformation because it's a very uncomfortable experience, but but with high risk comes better outcomes. Okay? So what happens is when you start to turn the dial on the frequencies you're tuning into, it's even going to unmask things about yourself that maybe are not serving you in a positive way anymore. If there are addictions, habits, things that you do that you know is already played out, you know it's expired, it is what it is. Like I tell people, like, do that thing that you like to do. You know, if it start causing a problem, then pull back. I'm not, I'm very what's the word? I'm untamed when it comes to that. And so the advice that I give is very different than what you usually hear in the rhetoric that you get, especially in the spiritual consciousness community. It's very different. But if you've been wearing a mask, this frequency will take that off too, so that you can see the parts of you that invite the things into your life that are no longer in alignment with your highest purpose. And we want that. But there is a price that you pay for that. And that price may be something that you're comfortable or content in now. I hope that makes sense. Yes, people have vices. And this is so I have studied so many spiritual systems. Even vices can be a beneficial thing. I have mine, you know? And this is why shadow work is so important, because you get to own all of that and you no longer have shame about it. That's going to change everything in your life. That one thing, getting rid of shame about stuff. Like, I used to hate having to blow my nose, like if I was on a live, because that's something I have to do a lot, because I had a lot of antibiotics. I've had candida. I've been like really attacking it for years, but it is not easy to kill unalive, as they say. Changing the algorithm of our speech, I don't like that. But I've lived in homes that were so water damaged that mushrooms was growing inside the house. Like, I've experienced a level of poverty that a lot, that is not super common. It's common, but I have experienced poverty at a scale that some people can't even comprehend. So because of that, mole illness, candida, like so many different illnesses and stuff was a result of me living in poverty. Okay. So I'm still dealing with that now. And so some of the ways that show up is a lot of mucus. Mucus also is created because of what's coming down from the clouds, which I'm going to do a deep dive into. And I cannot say what I really want to say to y'all right now, because this does affect our mental health. It affects our capacity to show up in our relationships in healthy ways. And it affects our ability to operate in whatever spiritual powers we are here to have. Okay? Mucus is not just mucus anymore. Humans are being terraformed. So our behavior, all of this is all connected. That's what makes an oracle an oracle. Now they're creating machines called oracles, right? And you got to wonder, why would they name it that, right? And it's because we have access to all of this data across time and space and multiple dimensions, right? So with that being said, I'm deciding if I'm going to put this next decoding on Patreon or in my Coven. I'm probably going to do both. It's affordable. Starts at like $1. It's so worth it because the information is there. If y'all can find the information that I give somewhere else, let me know. Let me know. I want to know, because my goal is to go as deep as possible, right? And take out what we need, because we are the generation that's going to be the determining factor for what happens in the world in the next generations. And that is major. And everything that you're doing is being written on your DNA. They call it epigenetics, right? It's the way, the expression of our DNA and mRNA and how it changes based on what we experience through our environments. It's passed down from one generation to the next. So we may not have been whipped and chained and in cotton fields and sugarcane fields, but it's inside of us, because on a DNA level it was passed down. That one thing alone makes us different, because we have survived things that a lot of other cultures have not. And each culture has its thing, right? So we're primed to live in survival mode, and this is depleting our adrenals. It's draining our kidneys. I'm even going to get into why there are so many kidney issues in our communities on a spiritual level, and tell you ways that you could heal that. The kidneys rule over your willpower. Something wants to take our willpower away from us. The willpower to live. Something wants to destroy that. Right? We cannot let that happen. And when you're experiencing apathy, depression, anxiety, even just boredom, when life starts to feel bland, you become less protected energetically, because your frequency is not creating a morphogenic field. This field is created through a combination of your mind, what you think about, what you eat, what you talk about, who you allow to have access to you. Do you abandon yourself? Do you overgive? Do you over-explain? Do you give people more than they're giving you? Do you ensure that your relationships are reciprocal in a healthy way? And when you notice that they're not, you pull away. Like these are things that I had to learn. And as an empath, that is such a hard thing, because now I can be a bitch. Let's not get it twisted. I'm a Scorpio moon. I can be savage as fuck. Let's not get it twisted. But my heart is golden. And when you hurt it, I'm closing the fucking curtains. You can't have access to me if you're hurting me. And unfortunately, because of the things that have occurred, some of us have people that are in proximity to us that in some way, even if it's unintentional, are creating some form of harm. So what do you do in that situation? Especially if we're moving into a space where, let's just say, with the lockdowns, we had to be in proximity with people with all of their shadows, with all of their demons, with all of their traumas being triggered because of all of the shit that was happening, and we was locked in a box with them. And do y'all see that we went through a collective near-death experience? That was as close to death as a lot of people have ever been. So because I have actually died, I knew how similar the experience was. And I was like, wow, do people really know what's happening? Right? So let me go back to the warding. Some of us are so sensitive to this electromagnetic frequencies that are now around us that we didn't have around us like in the 90s. Definitely all through the 90s. We missed the 90s because we remember what it felt like to not have something permeating your body 24/7, right? These towers and the LED light bulbs. It like has this low buzzing sound. If you get quiet enough in the middle of the night and you cut a light on, you can hear it. You can feel it. Right? The buzzing noise of all the technology, it disturbs our nervous system. And so we go into fight or flight just from being alive now. I hope this is making sense to y'all. Hey, sis. Another one of my sacred sisters. I see y'all. Right? Yes. And they're turning it up. When they turn it up, self-awareness is going to be what protects you next. If you are unaware that some type of entity attachment, there are entities that are assigned to us through our bloodlines based on certain traumas, and their goal is to agitate us until we feed them. They're like hungry animals. Okay? Think about a hungry lion. There is no empathy. It's not concerned about nothing but getting fed. Okay? There are some people who have a lot of these entities attached to them, so they behave this way and they become warlocks. These are certain men. This is why we got to be so careful. This is why the stuff that's happening is happening. It's not new. It's just that we can now see it with 2020 eyesight. So you want to make sure that you are in a frequency that's going to keep you safe. And the first way that you do that is never going to be somebody outside of you. Not me, not no other spiritual teacher, nobody. It's all you. Okay? It is all you. You have the power to do this. All right? So what's happening right now is that we're having to learn how to activate spiritual abilities to offset the technology. So it's ancestral intelligence versus the artificial stuff, right? And this is where you're going to find heaven on earth. That's a calm mind. That is the parasympathetic nervous system, which I call paradise. But you have parasites who are always creating issues. So when you learn how to do these things, it's going to protect you. Warding begins with your nervous system. Okay? Making sure that you are taking care of yourself the best that you can. making sure that you cut off access when something is just not, it don't feel right. Trust your intuition. Trust yourself. Intuition is a muscle. It gets stronger the more that you trust it and use it. Will you always be right? Probably not. But start now. Because now you can sit and have this live stream with me, and it ain't even me. Think about that. I can create a digital twin of me to sit here and do this right here with you, and you wouldn't even be able to tell. It has gotten so good now where I can barely tell what's real and what's not. This makes us feel unsafe because it's like we can't even trust our two eyes anymore. But why is that happening? It's happening because we're here to be trained to use our first eye, that they also call the third. This eye you can trust, but you have to heal, release, and be selfish about it and unapologetic. And when I went from being the family scapegoat and the savior